Oh my gosh. Okay. Thank you so much for that introduction. That's like more than you needed to say.
I can also like all day. I just love you. You're just wonderful. But Rachel's like, what am I
have to say, I really. Sorry, go ahead.
That's the cool thing about what we do is like I am sitting there posting on my Healthy Emma page, like not knowing if anybody's listening to me, watching me, or whatever. And then it brought me to Rachel and like so many people on the team that are now like my sisters. They're like my people, my tribe, and it's just, I don't know, that's what life's all about, right? Finding the people that are like you. And I'm so thankful that she joined me, that I can call her a friend and like a colleague in this business. So it's just awesome. All right.
Yeah. That's like the best part of this business is like all the new friends that I've made and just having this positive community instead of this catty kind of very competitive step on each other community, which is kind of where I came from. And so I love your introduction, but I do have to clarify that I'm not going backpacking for 2 months. I'm going backpacking in 2 months for 2 weeks because I had a bunch of friends being like, what? You're leaving for 2 months? What? I didn't know. So
that's my fault. I must have read that wrong in our texting. Okay.
No, actually, but I love that because it's definitely a goal to be able to go away for that long and not have to be like in any one place. That's sort of like one of my main goals with this business is to be mobile and to be able to go live anywhere I want. Like that's been a lifelong dream of mine. So anyways, I like that. Sort of like believe it and it will come. So I'm so excited to talk to all of you guys tonight. And it was kind of one of those crazy, hectic days for me where everything went wrong and I was dealing with a lot of like obstacles being thrown at me from every turn. So, but that's one of the things I'm going to talk about. So is how you show up anyway, right? Because this is a job and we want it to be a job. So I'm going to share my presentation. Hold on one sec. Okay. So I was going to talk about mistakes that I made as a new coach. And then I talked to Emma today and she's like, talk about leaders, talk about creating leaders. And it kind of threw me for a loop because I thought, I don't know if I do that. Do I do that? And I think sometimes like we just don't give ourselves credit for the things that we are doing right, but it's a really good exercise just to do on a regular basis, I think, is to sit down like maybe once a month and say like, you know, we're so hard on ourselves, but instead of saying, where did I go wrong this month? What can I improve? Like really actually try to focus on like, what did I do right this month? Like what good things did happen to me this month? And how did I create that? Because I'm learning in this business that it's actually something that you do want to be conscious of. Because all along, the entire time I've been doing this, Emma's like, how'd you do that? How'd you do this? And I'm like, I don't know. I just kind of tried stuff and something worked. So it helps your team as you're moving forward for you to actually consciously check in and ask yourself like, okay, what did I do? Like, I didn't just sort of do something. I mean, I don't know, that doesn't make any sense. But you did do something, like even if you weren't conscious of like having a strategy. So it helps to kind of look back and ask yourself like, okay, what exactly did I do with my time this month that made XYZ go right? Because when you do that, then you can teach it to your team. So that's something I'm still growing at. But here's some of the things that I think have helped create some of the leaders on my team, of which I have several awesome coaches who are moving forward. So I put at the bottom, you, them, community, and belief, because I think those are kind of 4 elements I'm going to talk about in order of importance. So you can't really see the whole quote, but it says, it's about what you do, not what you say. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. So this whole thing starts with you, right? Like being a good leader and creating good leaders on your team, it starts with what you're doing for yourself. So first of all, just being willing to be open to growing. Like if you come into this business and you think that you've got it down or you know how to do this stuff and you're not actively seeking new knowledge, then you're not going to move forward and you're not going to grow into being a better leader. So just knowing that the first thing that you're going to have to work on to be a good leader of your team is to work on yourself. And so drop what you know and be willing to grow. And that means in every way, like not just learning about the business, but also learning about yourself, what your strengths and weaknesses are, and even on your own fitness journey. Like be willing to grow outside your comfort zone, because this business really is actually entirely about being outside your comfort zone at all times. And when you slip back into that, you'll notice that your business kind of hits the pause button. So it starts with you. So first of all, being a student. So when I first started this was, being a student is kind of my comfort zone. So I was like, yay, I'm starting something new, which means that I can sort of hide for a minute. And so I kind of like dove in to trainings and like absorbed as much information as I could, because one thing that I've always been good at is being a student, and just learning. And I think in my life, I kind of used that actually as a way to avoid adulthood for a very long time. You guys mostly know that I'm a lawyer, and finally kind of settled on a career as a public defender. And when I started that, I really thought, finally, this is it. Like, this is the time where I'm actually going to get out of school and be in a real job. But before that, I had gone to college for 7 years to get my BA. I studied abroad. I messed around. I failed all my classes a couple semesters. And then I pulled it back together and like graduated. And then I went to grad school for 2 years to be a teacher. I spent way too much money on that education, and then I only taught for 1 year, and I hated it. And then I came back home and took like a year off before I decided to go to law school for 4 years. So that's 7 years, 9. So I went to school for 13 years, like no joke. And, you know, at the time I thought, well, this is what I have to do. Like, in order to be successful, I have to find like the right degree and the right path. And I didn't know what I wanted to do, except that I loved learning, and I was good at that, and I was good at following directions. And this is going to tie in a little bit to what I'm going to talk about later. But for me, that was a way to sort of, you know, give the appearance of being very successful and productive while also kind of hiding, because I was kind of afraid to like find my true voice. But what I could do was like write an essay and get an A. So anyways, that skill kind of translated easily for me into this. And so when I first started, I dove into learning. But what I've noticed with other coaches is that not everybody does that. And so that's one of the things that you want to encourage your coaches to do too. But first of all, for you, yeah, like learn as much as you can. Like, you're going to have to apply it as well, but anytime you have a question about anything about this business and you Google Beachbody, the question on YouTube, or you search on YouTube, you're going to find like 25 videos that are like 10 minutes long that you can watch from different coaches. So just every time you have time, go watch something. Like, it will pay off, because when you do that, then you're going to be like constantly motivated and constantly having new ideas, and you're going to be excited. Be consistent and reliable. So with your team, like you're with your uplines team and also with the team that you're creating, you just want to show up. Like, be doing your own vital behaviors consistently, but also showing up to all the meetings and showing up when you make appointments with your coaches. Those things will pay off. So obviously I listed the 3 vital behaviors here, which seems obvious. Like, we talk about that all the time, but you will find that when you're not being a product of the product and you're not doing personal development, you're going to stagnate, and it's going to reflect into your business. So just like Emma said, like, she's pushing out of her comfort zone with a new program. Every time I'm doing that, no joke, people come to me who I haven't even invited, and suddenly are interested. And so I don't know if you guys have seen my post the last couple of days about starting Insanity the Asylum, but literally in the last 2 days, I've had 2 people. One person bought a challenge pack who didn't even contact me about it, and then later said like, I'm so inspired by you, and I just finally decided to do this. And I was like, okay, awesome. And then one other friend of mine who's been telling me no for a long time and doing my free groups is like contacted me too. So there's just an energy that you're putting out when you're giving yourself your all that inspires people. Like, it's just an energy thing or something. I don't know, but it keeps proving itself to be true. And I think Emma, I'm sure, would agree with me, having done this longer than I have. And then personal development feeds into that too. Like, if you're feeding yourself positive messages and affirmations all day, instead of like listening to just depressing news or, you know, focusing on negative Facebook feed scrolls or whatever, like, then you're going to be empowered, right? You're going to be hearing positive messages of reminding yourself that you're capable, and that's going to exude out of you and inspire your team. So demonstrate the expectations you have of your team. Like if you want to attract people on your team who are going to want to build the business, then you better be building your business, right? Like they're not going to go further than you most of the time. Like maybe you'll get really lucky and you'll get someone who's just like wants to do it and wants to shoot ahead of you. Like that would be amazing. But 95% of the time, you're probably going to get people who aren't going to do quite as much as you. So live what it is that you want them to be doing. If you want them to show up on team calls, then you better be showing up on team calls, you know? And when you talk about the team calls, you better be enthusiastic about those and make sure you're expressing enthusiasm for everything so that your coaches understand why it's important. Take care of you so that you're motivated, and then believe with 100% force that you're capable. And how you strengthen that belief is by doing it and being willing to learn from your mistakes. So I think that's a really important point, because a lot of people, I think, feel like, well, I don't know how to do it yet, so I'm just going to wait until I know how to do it. I'm going to like hang back and learn more. But having been in the career that I was previously, where I was having to do really scary things in court, I can tell you that what I took away from that I'm applying to this job is that I didn't know what I was doing, right? Like every time I had to do a new type of a court hearing, or the first time I did a jury trial, like I was scared out of my mind. I thought I was going to poop my pants or throw up, or like, and I felt like my mind was going blank, and I was like shaking, my leg was shaking. I remember like bracing my leg against the table so that I wouldn't like, fall down. I was so scared. And then I did it and it was okay. And then the next time I did it, I was like, okay, like I was still nervous for sure, but it was like down a notch. And the next time after that, it was down a notch, you know, and it just keeps going like that. So you have to just do stuff. Like if you're afraid to invite somebody, the only way you're going to get over that fear is by just doing it, like pulling the trigger and then being like, how'd that go? Well, that went really good. Oh my gosh, amazing. I can do that. And then you do it again and it goes bad. Or someone's like, never talk to me again. And then you're like, oh, ouch, you know? And then you're like, whew, okay, let me do that again. And it gets easier. Like you start to realize that it's really not about you and that you're just getting better every time. And yeah, you just have to jump in. So, and then I put on the side, the speed of the leaders, the speed of the pack. I feel like we talk about that a lot, but it's absolutely true. Like I actually, just for the first time this month, shout out to my new coach, Ebony. Like she's the only coach I've ever had who's gone past me in Success Club points. So that's a big accomplishment. I was like really excited about that. But usually my team is like, you know, they're doing about a certain percentage of what I'm doing. They're usually not going beyond me. And that's because you're the leader of your own team. So you're kind of setting the bar for what the expectation is. Okay. So it starts with you. And then moving to them, like you want to get them started right. You know, we talk about getting coaches started right all the time, but I feel like it's a place of a little bit of paralysis for new coaches. And even for me still, I'm still tweaking how I get coaches off on the right foot. But there's a couple things that I think are just that anyone can do that are basic, because we tend to overcomplicate things, or at least I do, because that's the one thing about watching a lot of training is that you can kind of get really bogged down with like, oh my gosh, I got to make like 25 videos from scratch in order to like sign any coach. I have to have my own coach basics, like completely tailored to me. Like, no, you don't. You don't have to do any of that. And that should not stand in the way of you signing coaches, because you're going to do it a little differently with every coach as you like learn and grow and add a video here and add a video there. But you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So don't complicate the roadmap. It is already there for you. Like it's in the Coach Online office. Emma has stuff. I have stuff. Your upline coach has stuff. Like there is a lot of material for you to use. So get them off on the right foot. So what I first make sure that I do when I talk to someone who's interested in coaching is I make sure that I know where they're coming from. So if they're coming from my challenge group, then chances are I've gotten to know them as long as they were participating, and I kind of know where they're coming from. I know what they like. I know what kind of workout they did and what their results were. And I kind of probably have an idea of their personality and their life and how coaching might benefit them. If it's someone who's like, you don't know at all, who just comes to you from social media, then I think it's really important to get on the phone as soon as possible to talk to them about the opportunity. Like what are they interested in? Why are they interested in it? Like make sure you kind of get a feel for that. And then first be their friend. Like I never push the coaching opportunity on anybody, right? Like you want to talk to them in a way that speaks to their need or speaks to the hole in their life that coaching could fill, whether that's community or finances or staying accountable to their own fitness, or making new friends. There's a lot of things other than just making money and getting a discount that could appeal to them about coaching. So be their friend, talk to them about the opportunity in the way that you think it might benefit them the most, and then let them decide, and make sure they know that you're going to be there to support them as a friend, no matter what their decision is. And then you want to keep that relationship going. But if you started off that way, you're just going to earn a lot more trust right from the beginning. Remember that people are great and expect that they will also be great. Like, I always expect that anyone who joins my team is capable of being a top 10 coach. I just expect that they're capable of doing anything they want because they are, and I don't know what they're going to decide about what they want to do with the opportunity. But even if that's not their goal, like, expect that they're going to be great at whatever they choose to do with the opportunity, and just kind of make sure they know that you think that they're amazing, right? Like, you believe in them. Set realistic expectations with them. So a GSR call is a getting started right call, and I always get on the phone with coaches when they sign up, just so that I make sure I understand what they want, and then I can set expectations for them based on their goals, not on my goals, right? But if they want to do the typical business goals that we all shoot for in the beginning, like hitting Success Club 5 and advancing to Emerald, and they're wanting to build a business, then just set those expectations for them of what should they do to accomplish those things. So, in order for them to hit Success Club in their first month, they're going to have to be inviting people, and they're going to have to be participating in some training with you or on their own. So just set those expectations and then guide them, like, where do they go to get that information, whether it's Coach Basics with you or they want to self-train through the Coach Online Office. Just, tell them what has to happen on their end in order for them to do it. They've got to be doing the vital behaviors, sharing their journey, etc. And then plug them into your tools and systems or your uplines, right? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. And don't forget that it's all in the office too. Like, even if there was no such thing as Coach Basics or like any of the tools that we have in Fierce Fit and the files in Fierce Fit, they could just teach themselves in the Coach Online Office. So don't neglect to walk them through that, show them where all those videos are, make sure that they're watching that and printing those training forms. And then I like to give my new coaches a survey to fill out so that I have something written down about their goals, what motivates them, etc. I was going to actually try to put it on the PowerPoint, but I wasn't sure how to do that so you guys could see it. But I can show you the one that I use. It's probably similar to the ones that you've seen before. But it's just, what does success look like to them? What's their goal with the business? How many hours can they work their business? Are they interested in doing a training program with the team, etc.? And then I put over on the left, and I think I said this already, but when you talk to your new coaches, you want to express unbridled enthusiasm for every single thing, every opportunity that is available. Like, whether it's training with you or training with your upline or some other kind of Success Club prize or whatever. You just want to channel all the enthusiasm for Beachbody that you have, because I know you all have it, and make sure they know. They're looking to you to see what's so great about this opportunity. So make sure that you're showing them, you're having that attitude, what you don't want is for your coaches to ever see you rolling your eyes or sighing or complaining about going to a Zoom meeting or something like that. Even if you feel that way, that's just not the kind of attitude that you want to project. You always want to show how awesome this is and why you'd never miss a meeting if possible, because that just sets the expectation for them that these are valuable. The Zooms are valuable, the trainings are valuable, and it's true, right? Even I'm sure we've all felt oh, I'm so busy, I don't have time, I don't feel like it or whatever, but I know for me, if I feel like that and then I get on anyway, I always walk away happy that I was on, and I always take something away from it. So that's what you want to demonstrate to them, is that all the opportunities that are available to you are there for a reason. They're valuable and they're worthwhile. So foster a sense of community on your team. This is my team, Fit to Shine, the girls that came to Summit, and this is us at Summit, and wearing our tank tops and like feeling a sense of community. Like, what a cool experience. This was my first Summit, and I had 6 coaches come from our downline, and it was just so amazing to have that experience with them. But you can create community in lots of other ways, right? Like, that was obviously the ultimate super fun event, but yeah, like creating community all the time with your team is super important. And I think it helps to know kind of what your mission is. Like, into my personal mission for our team, Fit to Shine, is to just communicate to all of my coaches and all of the challengers who come along and join us and do challenges with us, that they're capable of anything they want to do with their life. Like, I really feel like it's my mission to reach out and empower other people who feel stuck, whether it's stuck in their health and fitness or stuck in their job or stuck in whatever situation they're in that they're unhappy with. They have the power to change it. And a lot of people just don't know how to harness that. And I feel like that's my mission, is to show people that they can, you know, find that within themselves. So community motivates people, right? Like, it motivates me. So I try to create that for my team. Every week I do a team call, and I've been doing that since the very beginning. Like, before I even hit Diamond, I was doing that. And I think that was like a huge, you know, some weeks I only have like 2 or 3 coaches on, but I do it anyway. I've only missed like 2 or 3 weeks in the last, I don't know, 8 months that I've been doing it. And I think it's important. It's really important to just have that space, you know, even if you do have 1 or 2 people that show up. Like, I put a lot of effort into those. They're recorded. And I just figure, even if not that many people are on, I'm creating this library of training materials that coaches can use in the future when they sign on. But it just creates a place where it's like, okay, this is the time we meet. We meet every week. The doors are always open. You can ask me questions. And I do trainings, but also having some Zooms where it's just like a brainstorming meeting, and they can learn from each other, because then they get to make friends on the team and get to know each other. And that's super important too. So obviously having a private Facebook page for your team, like, do that right away. Do that as soon as you have 2 coaches and you're an Emerald. Like, as soon as you're an Emerald, you're a leader of your own team. And I firmly believe that if you build it, they will come, right? Like, if you're only an Emerald, but your goal is to really make this your full-time gig, then you need to already just believe that you are a leader of a big team, and just put those systems in place now, because it's easier to do it when you have fewer coaches and just start practicing. Because by the time you have like 40 or 50 people on your team, you're going to be like really good at it. You know, you're going to have been doing it for a while. Host in-person events. So the coaches that are local to me, I try to like get together with them one-on-one for coffee. I had coaches over to my house to make vision boards a couple weeks ago. I know we've done like game night or whatever. Like, we just try to get together and be a part of each other's lives outside of Beachbody and just as a community. And that's really motivating. Recognition is obviously really motivating. Like, we all love to be shouted out to, right? And like recognized for our success. So recognize your coaches for everything, like their first challenge pack sale, or if they take a risk and do something scary for them, or if any benchmark that they hit. Do team challenges with your team. I do like something every month, you know, like do so many invites or watch so many trainings or listen to so many podcasts or hit so many points or whatever. And then check in personally with your coaches, like literally I do once a week. I always check, unless it's like someone who I know for sure is a discount coach and is like, don't bother me with this until 3 months from now. Then it's like, fine, I respect their wishes. But if it's someone who's like on the fence, or they've told me they want to build it, even if they're not doing anything, I just message them once a week and I say, hey, just thinking about you. How's it going? What can I do to help out this week? Or maybe I don't even say anything about it if they're not in that space, but I just let them know that I'm their friend. And if there's something that they want to chat with me about, I'm there. And then pairing them with success partners is always helpful. Just help them make friends on the team, because if they feel like they're a part of something bigger than themselves, they're going to be more motivated to succeed. Okay, so I wish I could erase this bar at the top because I can't read the quotes. But I think it says only 2 things change your life. Either something new comes into your life, or something new comes from within. And I love this because I think at the very core of what I'm talking about and the very core of this business is that you can do anything you want with this, but you can't do it if you don't fully 100% believe that you can do it. And there's something insanely powerful about really and truly believing that it's going to happen for you, no matter what. And when you have that deep-seated belief, you will start to take the right actions to make it happen almost without trying. Like you will just be sort of led into the next right thing as long as you're staying open and you have that vision really strong that you can do it. And that's not something that you can necessarily teach to your team except to demonstrate it and live it and talk to them about it and encourage them to do it. And believe in them when they're not quite there yet, like believe in them for them. Like I know for sure that my coaches are capable of doing it if they can find that belief in themselves. So I just always remind them, like, I know that you can do this. I 100% know that you can meet whatever goal it is that you want to meet. But you need to find out what it is that is holding you back and break through. So I have those conversations with them a lot. So I love this little progression. Like, you can do anything. It's going to take you some steps to do it probably, but believe that you're capable of learning anything, right? And with learning, you become competent. And when you're competent, you become confident. And when you're confident, you move, right? Like, and I love this because it's like, yeah, we all have strengths. We all have weaknesses, but any of us can harness or figure out what is it that we're weak in and go learn about it. And then we feel a little bit competent enough to try it. And once you try it, then you have confidence and then you can go crazy, right? Action time. And then, yeah, just believe with all your might. So I said that already. Everyone has strengths. Help your coaches see their strengths. So whatever it is that you're observing that they're strong at, tell them, hey, you're strong at this. For example, Emma telling me, hey, you're good at creating leaders. And I'm like, I am? Okay. Let me think about it. And then when I think about it, I'm like, oh, okay. I think I could talk about that. So, Emma does that for me. I do that for Laura. Laura does that for Linda. Right? It goes down the line. And that's what's so cool is that we can all just encourage each other in this big ripple. If you can do this, so can they. We all have things that have caused us to stumble and fall. We all have different life circumstances. We all have different obstacles. But essentially, overcoming tough obstacles in your life, it's similar, right? I might have one kind of obstacle and Laura might have another kind of obstacle. But the strength that it takes to overcome whatever that is and break through and find your strength and your ability to move on, it's sort of the same thing. Do you know what I mean? Anybody can overcome whatever's holding them back mentally. It's just a matter of finding that strength, which I think comes from just remaining open and willing to learn. So when they're doubting themselves, you remind them that you believe in them, that the skills they're lacking, they can learn them. Tell them where to go find, materials to help them learn. And they have strengths and just point out what those strengths are. And a lot of times they can use their strengths to help them in the weak areas. And then it helps to be vulnerable with them. Sharing something that you've overcome is, I think, important. So I wanted to kind of share something that's feels very vulnerable for me with you guys, which is that, and this goes back to the beginning. I was talking about how I kind of went to school forever and kind of hid behind that. And it's because I really was stuck in a place where I was seeking approval from everybody all the time. And I was always kind of trying to be somebody that I thought someone else wanted me to be. And that kind of stemmed from really early on when I was young in high school. I was on a really good roll. I was going along, very successful in my life, straight A student, college bound, feeling, and I did go to college, but it was a very roundabout road. I'll get to that in a second. But something happened to me my senior year of high school that kind of crushed the course of my life for a long time. I was raped by somebody that I thought was a friend at a party. And I can't believe I'm talking about this right now, but I felt compelled to share this tonight because it changed the course of my life in a pretty significant way, and caused me to totally stop believing in myself it led me to be in a very abusive relationship for like 5 years after that, and just be doing a lot of drugs and partying and having basically no self-esteem left. Like, and I went through a couple of years of like failing all my classes and feeling like, I remember feeling like I wasn't worth anything. Like I just couldn't find my voice. I didn't even think I was worthy of having a voice. Like I didn't even want to talk to anybody about anything that I wanted to do. I just wanted to figure out how to have other people's approval. And so that's kind of what led me to do the only thing I knew how to do good, which was like be good in school. And it's kind of why I stayed in school for so long. And I let school and relationships, like very unhealthy relationships, kind of govern my self-esteem. And I was kind of like, well, as long as I'm getting straight A's, and as long as I'm not fighting with my boyfriend, or he's not like, putting me down this week, then I'm good, And I was really good at high performing under very, like, in a tight box. And so what's so interesting about this particular opportunity for me is that it might not seem to some of you like doing this is as scary as like standing up in front of a jury. But I can tell you that, like, for me, doing this job and like being this open and this vulnerable and sharing myself, my true self, is actually definitely the scariest thing I've ever done. Because standing up in front of people and like arguing for someone else, like helping the underdog, that made me feel important. And I was good at it, but I was also hiding, it was like me playing a role. And doing this and being like open and sharing my vulnerability, like, is a whole new territory for me. So I'm only telling you guys all this because I just want you to know that, like, if I can do this job, like, anybody can do this. And it's just kind of about like believing that you can, and believing that you can be totally yourself with other people and they'll accept you. So yeah. So do a gut check with yourself.
Over here. You've never even shared that with me, and we've had some good heart to hearts. I mean, you have to be one of the bravest people I've ever met. And I'm so proud of you.
I'm gonna like totally cry.
Thank you for opening up, because you're right. Like, we all go through really hard things, and you just never know what people have gone through. But that is one of the hardest things. And I'm just so honored that you're here, that you're sharing your message, and we're blessed by you speaking tonight. So we love you.
Thank you. Oh gosh, I wasn't actually even sure I was going to go there, but I don't know why. Honestly, you guys, I have not.
I'm glad you did.
I really haven't, but I think it was a real turning point for me and a hurdle that I've overcome. And anyways, I felt like touched this afternoon to bring it up, and I was like, my initial reaction was like, no way, I'm not doing that. But anyways, it's one of those like things, like a God thing, or one of those messages where you're like, okay, I'm supposed to talk about it. Okay. So anyways, like, ask yourself, are you being the leader that you want to have? Your team's going to do about 75% of what you do. Those are going to be your highest performers, not, a lot are going to do less. So I think Brigitte Linford was the one who said this, like, imagine that there's a camera on you during your work hours. Are you doing the things that you're asking them to do? Are you really like doing your workout, doing your posts, inviting, whatever, posting on social media, inviting consistently, working out consistently, sharing unapologetically? I think about this term a lot, because I think new coaches and coaches who haven't found their confidence yet tend to like invite in an apologetic tone of voice, especially to the coaching opportunity. And just be aware of that, because a lot of you are probably doing that and not even realizing it. I know I was for a long time. And finally I had a breakthrough, and I was like, why am I acting like this is the best thing that's ever happened to me? It 100% is, in terms of career. But like, why would I not think that other people would be into it? And just to drop that apologetic tone of voice, and just know that if someone says no to you, they're missing out. Like, I feel bad when people say no to me. I'm like, too bad that you're not going to take advantage of this amazing chance to change your entire life. Like, I guess I'll just go on and keep having fun, and when you're ready, you'll come. So just think of it that way. And when you can really embrace that, you'll have a breakthrough with your ability to recruit coaches. And then showing up on calls and trainings, I already said that. If you want builders, you have to be a builder. So I love this quote, not the cry, but the flight of a wild duck leads the flock to fly and follow, right? Like, your team is going to be inspired by your motion, and you overcoming your own obstacles and you figuring it out and doing it and being successful. Like, that's what's going to inspire your team to emulate you and to do what you're doing. So that's it. Any questions?
I can't stop crying. I was just thinking, like, after you shared your story, I was just thinking about all the people on our team that needed to hear what you had to say and how awesome that is, and then how many other people are where you were or where you are, and they need to hear what you, like, your message and their message, and it just trickles down the line. And so thank you so much for the content and the heart. And you're so right about everything that you said in that call. It's not magic. It's just a matter of just going and doing and believing in yourself, and just go leading from the front, which you do so well. So there's no wonder why your team is so successful. So does anyone have a question they want to ask Rachel and put her right on the spot? No? Rachel, you'll probably want to read some of the chat, because I know you can't read.
Yeah, I should read it.
But no, yes, we all can do this. It's not a matter of whether you can or you can't. I love that I actually got started in this business without any training, like, because I didn't know, like, I didn't get overwhelmed, because there was nothing to get overwhelmed with, because my mission was solely to just improve myself through fitness and personal development, and then go and find a minimum of 3 people a month to do that too, and then just keep freaking going. And I can speak to Rachel, what she said with, like, when I started doing my team calls, I had like 40, 50 people on the team. That was so much more scary than doing a team Zoom with just 2 people. People don't need you to say the right things. I promise you that. They just need to know that you believe in them, that you love them, and that this is something that could be really good for them. And then everything else we need to know is available if we want to learn it or when we're ready to learn it. And so if you don't know what to do, just do something that will start a snowball effect of all the things that you need to be doing. So, all right. Well, thank you all so much. I'm going to stop the recording.